There are those that just want to be left alone, and those that just won't leave them alone. Which one are you? The Ernest Hancock Show.
We gotta fight the powers that be. Got so many voices. Saying on the scene. Giving up all around me.
Yeah, we gotta fight the powers that be. You know, and who be the power? I don't know, it's always one gun versus another gun, but I tell you, this internet's a pretty big gun. And I want to encourage people to do this one thing. I mean, this is something that Sheriff Mack has been talking to a lot of people for almost on decades here, about how the power of the sheriff is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to the big bad guys with their shiny badges and the gun. And where's your gun? I mean, if it's not yourself, you want this kind of a air of civil legitimacy. Well, you have your elected sheriff. They're the guy that's supposed to be out on the front lines. In fact, you look at all the old westerns, or you look at, what are they doing? They go, here's your badge, you sheriff, you go fight the battle. Well, when they take that job on, when they run for that office, you should be asking them that very question. Are you willing to defend the rights of the people that are your constituency that is giving you this badge and uniform and gun and salary and this nice car and this office and all these other people with guns, and all this nice and fine equipment and everything? What the hell you think your job is? Get to work. Well, one way you can do that and find out who these guys are or replace the ones that aren't is by using Sheriff Mack's book. Now, Sheriff Mack, help me out with this. I want to go ahead and tell the people where they can get the book. And it's a small paperback book. I mean, it's not, a big giant reading. You can get through it in a couple of days. I mean, it's not like,
you can get through it in 45 minutes. It's only 50 pages long.
Now, to get right to the point, man. No yammering. Here you go.
That's right.
So let's go. How can they get this? It's a pamphlet. It's a paperback. You just hand this to them, 50-page book, and you say, look, here's what you need to know. Are you in support of this? Maybe I'll help you get elected. Maybe I'll support you. Maybe you can count on me. I got your back. Are you the guy that's going to lead the tip of the spear here against the encroachment by the federal government? Because where it comes, it's not going to be at a state level. They're already corrupted. It's they're already got the local municipalities. They're already under an Agenda 21 and whatever's development, growth, and UN, whatever the heck. But the county sheriff, they're the gun. And I'm going, all right, so this is a good place to start. I need you to give them the information so they know how to get this stuff so they can help find out who the good guys are for them.
Okay, the name of the book is The County Sheriff, America's Last Hope. And then there's a little booklet that just fits in your pocket that's called The Victory for State Sovereignty, and it's a review of the Supreme Court decision in my case. So they're both great educational tools. You should be handing them out together, but especially the book. Make sure your favorite cop, your favorite deputy, and your own sheriff has a copy. Maybe even deliver one to his entire department, depending on how big it is. Give one to every deputy, dispatcher, jailer, undersheriff, captains, lieutenants. Make sure they all know and understand this, but make sure, just as Ernie said, your sheriff works for you. He is a gun for freedom. He is a gun for the Constitution. He is a gun for America. He works for you. You are his only boss. He needs to hear from you. You can get the book at sheriffmack.com.
Sheriff Mack, MACK.com. And sheriff is SHERIFF, right?
Correct. 1 R, 2 Fs.
Yeah, 1 R, 2 Fs. I always get that wrong. You correct me, and you've helped me learn to spell sheriff. Okay. So the one thing that I really want to emphasize to people, if you have any faith in our system of government as it was promised to us, not that I trust the promise, but they promised. They pinky swear. They said, pinky swear. We're here to protect your individual rights, and here's how we're going to do it. And it had levels that it went down to. So your hired gun, watch any Western, your hired gun was the sheriff, and they were answerable to you. And they were like, you don't like them, you get another one. Well, based on what? How about based on, they do their freaking job? And how do you define that? Is it some UN mandate that the federal government, the Park Service and federal and forest, whatever, coming in and taking from you? I'm just, where's the line? Where does it stop? And who's going to defend you? You have the banksters, the example you gave there. You have people with fraudulent paperwork going in and throwing people out of their homes when they don't even have the position to be even to foreclose. You have one single sheriff that says, I'm going to take a look at that. You know what? I'm not satisfied that I'm on the right side here, so I'm not doing it. When you guys figure this out, y'all let me know. If every sheriff did that, guess what happens? The entire system comes to a grinding halt. Who stands up? Sheriff Mack has been a very good example for a long time, showing what can be accomplished and influenced other sheriffs to do the same thing. Just like Mike Moresco went around with this book trying to encourage other sheriffs to do this, I know this has had an impact. I've seen it. I've been in, journalist long enough to see what has happened. Now, here we have Oath Keepers. Now, tell me about your association with Oath Keepers and how they're involved in this issue.
Well, they've inspired me because they did exactly what I've been preaching for a long time, and that is that everybody in law enforcement, especially sheriffs and military and every public official, should be keeping their oath. And in my first book, as you well remember, from my Cold Dead Fingers, the last chapter is a open letter from me to all law enforcement as to how and why we should be keeping our oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. And Oath Keepers was formed about 2.5, 3 years ago, and it was an easy marriage for me and Oath Keepers because I've been preaching this stuff for a long time. And I said, great, now somebody started a national organization to concentrate on all local officials, elected officials, military, sheriffs, law enforcement, all of us keeping our oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. And isn't it amazing? People want to call us wackos and crazies and racists and dangerous wackos in America. They want right-wing radicals. Well, we're so dangerous. We're terrorists. We're domestic terrorists because we want to do one thing: follow the Constitution.
Well, that's what's happened this week.
I'm so amazed by that.
That's what's happened this week at Time Magazine. Before we run out of time here, tell us what happened in Time Magazine this week.
Well, Time Magazine on the 4th of July issue wrote an article about the Constitution. In fact, it's on the front page, and I actually bought it because I thought maybe they're going to say something good about America or the Constitution or the Founding Fathers. And instead, they told all of us that because the Founding Fathers are not here anymore, they could not have known how the Constitution doesn't apply today, because today we have, and I'm quoting, this is serious, this article was written by the managing editor, Richard Stengel, of Time Magazine, and he actually says the Constitution doesn't really apply today because the Founding Fathers could not have known about computers, miniskirts, antibiotics, or Lady Gaga.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
I know. It's in there. And they're not kidding. He's not kidding. He put television, DNA, airplanes, sexting, and Lady Gaga. So, of course, because we have this idiot lady running around on stage, we have to wonder what the Founding Fathers would have said, so the Constitution cannot be applicable today because we have Lady Gaga running around doing whatever she wants on stage. This thing got so stupid, it's probably the stupidest article I've ever read in my life, and all of it is about how the Constitution doesn't apply today.
Well, fine. Then their government has no legitimacy anymore. If it doesn't apply, then they don't apply. If it doesn't matter, then by what justification do they use to be in existence? They had a deal with me. A deal I never signed. They go, right. You know what? We got this deal. Let me tell you what the social contract is. Social contract is that, if you let us have this 10 square miles and we have, like buildings and we have these branches of government and we get to, take taxes and all the blah, 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 blah. Then the deal was what? Okay, but the Bill of Rights, thou shalt not do this, 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 and this, and you're limited to this, and you have that. And they go, yeah, well, not that part. We don't like that part. That limits us. We don't want to be limited. So then they do all kinds of, mental gymnastics to be able to just say that they rule us. And then the very contract that created their existence, well, it doesn't really matter anymore. And then I go, then you don't matter anymore. At what point does the deal become null and void? When does that happen? It only applies to us and not to them. So I'm going, if you're going to keep a country together, if you're going to do this, you better be abiding by the deal. Because if you're not, then there's no reason for you to be there, because you're obviously not defending my individual rights. Next. That's why it's declare your independence with Ernest Hancock. Next, government. This one is not promote my happiness. Next. Well, I tell you, trying to keep it this one before we got to go to the next level, because next is going to be messy. Sheriff Richard Mack. You got a web page you want him to go to?
SheriffMack.com.
Sheriff Mack, M-A-C-K. Sheriff, 1R, 2S. SheriffMack.com. Get your copy of the book and share it with a sheriff near you. We'll talk to you tomorrow with Ed Foster, Mayor Quartzsite. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.